all women, for all men, for all forms of marriages, for all forms of divorces. What's called the am and khas, specific vis-a-vis general. That becomes the goal and the job and the mission of the scholar of hadith, to tell us whether that sentence is specific, about a specific case, or general, and if it can apply to all cases or to some cases, or if it was describing a specific reality in Arabia at a specific moment or throughout ages. And if it is, it's reliable for what case? And this has nothing to do with authenticity. Authenticity only tells you whether this happened or did not happen. Reliability is about whether we can use it or not use it. Two different things. There are certain things the Prophet did or said, but are of his time, not of every other time. And we'll talk about that later. We spoke about all of this, the history of the science of hadith. We spoke about, we covered quite good. Let's go to books of hadith, which is number 14. So those scholars of hadith, having collected all of this data about both the narrators and the statements, ended up writing different collections of books for hadith. I be honest with you that the books I have in front of me are books that are recognized by the Sunni school of thought within Islam, but not necessarily to say that those are not also acceptable and respected by the Shia school of thought, though you will have hadith within those books, the 6 books, or the 7 books, that some Shia scholars will say, wait a minute, I'm not going to take those hadiths. Why? Because they have specific criterion of what companion would be acceptable to have narrated from the Prophet, peace be with him. Or they question the validity of some Muslim, some companions, and their capability of delivering something from the Prophet, peace be with him. Now, how much of that literature is debated between Shia and Sunni Islam within the Muslim world? Not many, but good number. So I would say thousands of thousands, but not 2, 3 also. The specific names that would be questioned by Shia scholars of hadith, such as Abu Hurairah. But also one can say that even within the Shia tradition of the science of hadith, there have been a lot of inner study of whether Abu Hurairah will be authentic or unauthentic. So you will have Shia scholars saying, oh, of course Abu Hurairah is acceptable. Why not? Of course Aisha is acceptable, and why not? So there have been a lot of debate within Shia Islam about those specific names that have been questioned by traditional Shia scholars when it comes to the science of hadith. But overall, you would see a lot of the same hadith in both traditions. Any question? I want to finish this dry data before I get to the real stuff that I wanted to discuss with you after lunch. Now, the next one, types of hadiths. You have all of these kinds of hadiths. You have mutawatir. Mutawatir means a specific hadith, a specific statement that was heard by countless numbers of companions. You are the IT lady? Yes, I keep talking. Mutawatir means a specific hadith, specific statement that was heard by so many companions, listen carefully, from whom so many tabi'in heard, from whom so many tabi'in heard, that is to say, it's almost impossible to point to one or two or three. Meaning these statements are so much known, so much famous, so much practiced, acceptable, and the proof is that we have these hundreds of people who have narrated this from the Prophet and the Prophet. That's number one. Then you end up with these other hadiths, like hadith gharib. I'm mistaken, not gharib, gharib. R-E-E-B. Hadith gharib, though it sounds strange, it means strange, gharib means strange. But hadith gharib as well is an authentic hadith, however was narrated by one or very few companions of the Prophet, peace be with him. And compare the scholars of hadith, wait a minute, this is a very well-known statement, and it's really acceptable. Why only it was narrated by a few people? Why? Why was it strangely narrated by 2 or 3 or 4 people? If the isnad is right, if it is in line with other hadiths and in line with the Quran, and we know it happened, why did the Prophet say it only to few people? Why did the Prophet say it only to few of them? See the question here? But still, it's an authentic hadith. Then you have the sahih, the authentic. You have the hasan, as we said earlier, different layers of what is authentic. Da'if means weak. It takes a woman to solve a problem. I have been saying that people don't listen to me.
You're a smart man, sir. You're a smart man, sir.
I know I am. But my wife does not think I am. Yes.
I was going to connect your laptop, is that correct? You have the
Yes.
proper connection on
Yes.
Oh, don't talk to your computer on
Yes. Correct.
right here. So you don't want to use your own laptop then?
I mean, we can if you want.
We can if you have the adapter, yes, sir.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
See it? Salihah. I told you, women are wonderful. Women just don't listen. Nazir, you heard that? Women don't listen.
What can I do?
Sorry?
It's going to take a few seconds for the computer to warm up as soon as it does, and then be available there for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to touch this young lady in the meantime.
Okay. Wonderful. Now, what does the word da'if, weak, mean, by the way? Some people think weak means unacceptable. Weak means it could be authentic, but we are not 100% sure about its authenticity. And because we do not want to attribute to the Prophet something he may not have said or done, we rather say it's weak than authentic. So for hadith to be sahih or hasan, we have to be absolutely 100% sure. If there's 1% doubt in the authenticity of that hadith in terms of chain or matn, it will be doomed weak. 1%. And this is different from mawdu', fabricated. Fabricated means we have no isnad, no chain, and fabricated means it does not agree with Quran and with other hadiths. Fabricate means it may agree with other hadiths and Quran, but we have no clue of when it was said and how it became a part of our literature of hadith. Usually fabricated hadiths happen from scholars who thought by saying so they would encourage people to do more. So you have these hadiths that if you read Al-Fatiha 1,000 times a night, the first chapter of the Quran, you go to heavens without any question. Yes?
I'm just waiting on that to make sure everything was before I leave.
You know, you have these hadiths, or you have this hadith that I came across, that if you say Subhanallah, glory be to God, 1,000 times with the blink of an eye, God will never question you about your sins and you can do anything you want. So here you have this statement that came out from imams most likely, or educators wanted to encourage people to say Subhanallah, or to do good deed, or I have this hadith that he who taps the back of her husband, so to be good to her husband, God will never question her about any of her sins. Obviously, it's the husband who wanted to encourage his wife to tell him her story. And we have a lot of these stories. One of the great jokes of this fabricated hadith, the hadith says, Al-harisa tashuddu al-dhahr. Harissa is this very well-known dessert in Bilad al-Sham, in Syria, in Palestine, in Jordan, in Lebanon. It's a special type of dessert. So we have this man who is a businessman. So after Friday service, he's set up having prepared a lot of it for people to buy. Harissa, harissa, harissa. No one came to buy harissa. Guys, I'm going to be in trouble. So he said, Al-harissa قال صلى الله عليه وسلم الهريسة تشد الظهر. The Prophet said, Al-harisa will make your back enough strong to have more children. In other words, for you to have more sex with your spouse. Sorry. Big, very correct. So the men stood up in lines. This is good Viagra, sorry for the language. I'm telling you, he was stood up. And the man sold harissa, and he sent someone to his wife to prepare more harissa. We're going to be rich tonight. And for a full week, he sold so much harissa. And this became very well-known hadith. The Prophet said that harissa will make you have better, sexual desires. We have this hadith. It's there. We know when it was said. This specific story happened in the 12th century in Damascus. We know exactly when and who and how it happened. So we have all of these stories of people making these stories because they want to encourage someone to do something or frighten someone to do something. One of the fabricated hadiths is that every time you throw salt on the floor, God will force you to pick it up with your eyelashes on the day of judgment. Obviously, a mother did not want her children to throw salt on the floor. She said, well, let me frighten them of hellfire. And they have all of these stories about hellfire and about paradise that you would consider, are we?
I just want to make sure everything works on the rest right there.
Did we?
Sure.
What if we can we put the internet? Maybe it's easier?
Is it to you?
It was waiting for you to put it in your eyes.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you heard that, yeah.
Or like eat watermelons, I heard that's like.
Because they don't know how to put coffee in it.
Yeah, you know, open folders if you
Oh, Lord.
Good, good. Thank you. Okay. So that's Mawdu. Now, I did a study myself 3 years ago. I went through books of fiqh, of jurisprudence, that are widely within the Muslim community. And some books that are widely open in Aqidah. And said, I'm going to spend 2 days surveying the hadith that we use in our literature. And it was really surprising for me. According to my study, I studied about 500 hadiths I went through. And I discovered in the 2 days that 30% of the hadiths in these books were mawdu', fabricated. 23% were weak, and the rest were authentic. So almost 50-50. Which means that we use hadith without substance, or without willing to study, or willing to look into the authenticity of that hadith, basically because we are told it's hadith and we approve of it. And sometimes we have the fear of even asking the question, is this really a hadith? Is this really authentic? Is this really meaningful? Is it really the opposite? And we'll study that after salah, after lunch and salah. How would you, on your own, start finding a way to sift through hadith on your own, even when you're not scholar of hadith? We'll go through that after salah. Now, we'll finish almost with this. With mawquf. Mawquf means the difference between mawquf and marfu'. Marfu', it went all the way to the Prophet without having the name of the Sahabi, the companion. Okay? Mawquf, it went all the way to the Sahabi without going to the Prophet ﷺ. But it was said, the Prophet said. But we don't have we don't have the tabi'i. We don't have the tabi'i. So we have the tabi'i connected with the Prophet ﷺ, but we don't have the name of the Sahabi, the companion. So this is the difference. Now, going back to the mutawatir, not every mutawatir hadith is sahih. I told you earlier it is.